Do you want to go out there dating to potentially meet someone, yet you're really, really lacking confidence to do so? Well, that's something I've certainly had many challenges with over the years. So today I wanted to share my top 3 confidence tips for you so you can go out there and feel more confident when you're dating. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra point for you then. Now, over the years, I've been on lots of dates, and sometimes I was terrified with nerves. And I'm going to be totally honest with you, particularly quite a few of them in my early mid-20s, I'd have a few drinks before I went out dating. Maybe you've been there before, maybe you can relate. And although you feel a bit more confident in the moment, you're not actually coming across as your true self. And admittedly, sometimes my date, she had admitted that she had had a couple of drinks as well. Now, there were quite a lot of those dates that didn't work out. And then 1 or 2 when it developed, or maybe a few that developed. And that was great. That was amazing. And it's something I pushed myself to do again in early 2022 again, and get out there. And it was something I pushed through and had to obviously utilize my confidence, my self-esteem. And even though it's an area that was a little bit challenging, and probably my biggest challenge, it's something I put myself through using my tools, because we could all have fears, right? And one of the biggest fears I've personally discovered is in dating, because it brings up the fear that you're not enough, that you won't be loved if someone potentially rejects you. And that's why so many people I spoke to, even though they won't admit it, will just say, oh no, I'm too busy to find someone now, and all this kind of thing. And I was saying that to myself so long. And I would kind of dabble in dating as a result. When I started utilizing my tools, though, I was able to enjoy it more. And when it developed well, when my dating life developed well, it really, really boosted my confidence. And I boosted my confidence before I went out dating as well. Like I say, it can be a trigger. It could be we could be disliked in the workplace. We could have certain things said to us on social media. For me personally, though, going out in the dating world, trying to meet the right girl is and has been like one of the biggest challenges. But I've leaned into it and I've been able to feel more confident as a result over the years from what I've learned and what I've been able to do. So that's why I wanted to share it with you today. And sometimes our brain thinks it's a real life threat, that fear of rejection, right? It gets so terrified by it. We start doing these subconscious self-sabotaging things like, oh yeah, I can't make it tonight, I'm too busy, because it's just trying to keep us safe. It's perceiving potential rejection or failure with life or death. And when I got that realization and it was just fear, that's when I started leaning into it a lot more, as I did with things like sales and business. But for today, I really want to talk about dating, because I know lots of people, it's been one of the most popular episodes when I've touched on this, and I haven't touched on this enough. And although I'm not going to say I've been in a 20, 10 or even 5-year long relationship, I want to share my personal experience on how I've been able to boost my skills and in the dating world, and also have more confidence in that area with you today, because you may be so paralyzed to just even take action and put yourself out there, right? And I also talk about social confidence in general, which was something social confidence isn't something that phases me anymore, but there was a stage when it did, and I've got different episodes on that one as well, particularly when I was in my teens. Now, before we get into the tips, I want to ask you this. How's it helping you by just not taking any action in this area because the fear is too great? Well, maybe now it's keeping you safe, and this is how I thought of it. Maybe in like 1, 3, 5, 10, 20, 30 years time, imagine if you got further in life and you were like, wow, I didn't take any action in that area because I'm so fearful. And then you regret it. And it's never too late to start. anything, not just dating, but I don't think it's ever too late to start anything. Well, right now you can take action, and I'm going to give you some tips now in how you can boost your confidence in this area. Okay, the first one, be clear on what you want. Like, so many times I just went out there being like, I hope she likes me, and that kind of thing. Maybe you think that as well. Whoever you're into, like, just be clear on what you want. What is it you want? Like, not just the physical qualities. What are the other qualities, the soft qualities, the personality types? What do you want in a person? Do you like someone who's really outgoing? Do you like someone who's quiet? Do you like someone with passion? Do you like someone who's very calm, cool? What is it you want? What do you want in a person? What do you want them to be into? Do you want them to be healthy? What is it? You've got to get clear on what you want. Because so many of us, and this not just in dating, go out and be like, I'm just going to hit and hope and see what I get in life. Although I do believe in going with the flow of life and not being so set on a certain outcome and certain way, because else that can just make us miserable. You do need direction. If you've got no direction, how do you know what you're going for? So it's not a case of being so picky that this real precise list, someone has to hit that exact list, but it is just listing some of the non-negotiable musts for you. Like, for me, anyone who's rude or puts other people down, no, I don't care what your background is. I don't care how pretty you are. Like, that's a no. Unfortunately, I've never met anyone like that. So that's great. I know that I'm actually, by having that intention, it's really served me to actually know what I want a lot more. Okay, so that's the first one. Be clear on what you want. Not just go out and settle or hope someone likes you. Because when you've got standards and you know what you're going for, that's going to boost your confidence, first of all. The second one, do not become dependent on the outcome. Focus on the action and the process. It's such a cliche, like, in the personal growth world, but it's so true. Like, focus on the process and what you're doing right now and what you can control, not the outcome. So rather than be like, oh, they've got to like me, they've got to like me, this has got to work. And this was such a challenge for me in my head. Right. Now and then in areas of life, I have to call myself out for this now. And that's the beauty of why I've got coaches. And I tell that, like, they know to call me out on it. Right. Don't get so dependent on the outcome that you're like, oh, it's got to work. And then you put pressure and stress, and then maybe it does go well, but then maybe it doesn't go well. And then that can create some real tension, real upset in your own life, in your own head, create insecurities and all sorts. And I've certainly experienced that over the years, right? Because I felt so insecure. It's got to work. It's got to work out this girl. It's got to work out. Don't get attached to the outcome. Just focus on what you want and that direction. The third one, be transparent. And this is something I struggled with because I did the typical blokey thing. I just hid my emotions. I was like, I'll just come across as cool and don't tell her, what you're looking for and all that kind of thing. And it backfired big time, right? Be clear on your intentions. Now, there is a way about going about this. This isn't, use some common sense, and sometimes it's not too common. It's not when you're on your first date going, oh, I feel like this is going really well. I'd like to go, I'm already thinking about our future together, or I really, really hope this works out well. So I could introduce you to all my friends of, like, no, like, use some common sense, right? Right. Just see how it goes one stage at a time. But when you get to a place whereby you've known each other for a little while, you've been communicating, be clear on what your intentions are. And again, this comes back to the second one. We often don't do that because we're worried they're going to say no. Yeah, I've not shared my intentions before, and therefore she's like not thought I was interested in her. And that was a huge mistake. I remember doing that a couple of times in my 20s. So be clear of your intentions, because when you like go out and authentically say what you want at the right time. And again, like I'd suggest if you really want support in this area, getting a dating and relationship coach, right? But these are just like my things for confidence. When you can state what you want and what you're looking for, when you're like getting to know the person, you getting to like them, don't be afraid to tell them at the right moment, because that'll boost your confidence even more. I remember when I did this, like even this year, I won't go too much into my story at the moment. It just boosted my confidence, but because I focused on what I could do, right? Even though I was nervous, even though I was fearful, it really boosted my confidence by just actually taking that action and stating my intentions to her, right? So those are my 3 tips that I want to give you to really sort of boost your confidence in this area. Because I know, like, I wasn't sure if I wanted to create this one, admittedly, because like I say, I'm not like a long time relationship expert who's like been in a marriage for years or anything like that. But I have overcome challenges where I really lacked confidence. I really was dependent on the other person, not in like a needy way, but in my head, I was like, I really hope this works out. And then just unclear what I was looking for a lot of my early 20s. So I really wanted to share this for how I've been able to boost my confidence in this area. Okay. And I have an extra point for you as well. And I think this one's really, really key. And these are just bits of guidance, right, from me. But this next point I'm going to share with you is something I picked up, particularly in the last year or so. Don't take advice from someone who is not where you want to be in this area. And what I mean by that is take guidance, take thoughts like what people are saying, like what I'm sharing is how I've been able to boost my confidence. If someone is telling you, you should do this, this, and this, yet they don't have a happy, thriving relationship, and they're like literally directing you what to do, and maybe they're having challenges, I would suggest that's not advice, that's an opinion. Okay. And there's also guidance where people can just share their experience a little bit. Advice, for me, is only advice when they've walked the path or that person's further along or they're where you want to be. So for me, like, I like to share about my self-esteem and confidence journey in different areas. And that's what I'm giving to you as guidance, right? If someone is like telling you what to do, I remember, like, I had well, actually still a mate, but telling me in my early 20s, he was telling me what to do. And I listened to him by mistake. I shouldn't have. He was like, oh yeah, do this and this. What he had going was a bunch of girls interested in him that he didn't like, but the girls he was interested in didn't want anything to do with him. Yet he was giving me what he termed advice. And therefore, it impacted my results. So one question, if you're serious about going into more depth in this area, is really look at the results of the person talking to. And now and then this upsets some people. Like, I've upset dating relationship coaches. And again, this is just me sharing a perspective, because I said I personally wouldn't want to have an official dating and relationship coach who's single, because I'd be wondering why they've not got something in their life. So, and I know this could be quite sensitive. That's just my view. So what bit of guidance I want to give you on this is, when you're taking, because everyone likes to give their opinions and they sometimes term it advice, is really ask yourself, what results is this person getting in this area? If someone from an unhappy marriage is telling you how to have a happy marriage, do you want to listen to it? If someone who's struggling to meet someone's telling you how to meet someone, do you really want to listen? Right? It's completely up to you. That's the final point, because it can be more damaging than good in these cases sometimes. In another area, I've had people tell me about the law of attraction. which is like a kind of, you may be familiar, may not. It's like kind of a spiritual, how you get more the things you want in your life. And there are elements that I've experienced and lived myself, and it is effective and does work in some areas. And I sort of like my own version from my own mentor, and it really makes a difference. But I've had people tell me about it and they struggle to get good results in their life. That's an opinion. They're just talking theory. They're not actually living that place. So I went on that final point a little bit. I just want you to be very careful of distinguishing between advice, a little bit of guidance, and opinion. And again, this is kind of just guidance to you. So just be wary of who's giving you the information and what results they're getting. And you can challenge them in the right way, of course. It's a bit like someone who's like broke telling you what to do with money. Okay. It's like that a little bit. So that's what I've got for you today. I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people's lives by being the best you. And remember, you're in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.